Locals are great because they know the area. Those guys have lived there. Harold and Kim have lived here on that smaller lake with their resort for over 20 years. And they got lots of good information about the area. And you got to get over your sheepishness about asking people about Bigfoot so you can find out information that's going to help you in your investigating, not just stuck in your brain putting up your own hypothesis. It totally sucks. It does when you find out that you're wrong or you've made a mistake. But again, it's about education. It's not about being right, it's about being factual. If you're worried about being wrong, then don't squatch. Bottom line is don't squatch. Because you're going to make lots of mistakes. And it's going to take you a long time to figure out what you're looking at. And you're going to have to go into places. I mean, that's a nice road. Look, that's a great road. But I need to go up that. That's what I need to go over there, up there. And that's not even steep, that area. Because up there is going to be like that there. Let me show you that. That's steep. And I'm old. And I'm fat. But the bottom line is, I have to be a healthy skeptic. I have to use critical thinking. I have to formulate a hypothesis, and I have to caution myself about my own sincerity, because I don't want to be sincerely wrong. Doing this area, especially being out here for 5 or 6 days, it's kind of like, it's a beautiful spot I'm walking into. Let me just show you. Look at that. This is Echo Lake here. But, you know, man, it's gorgeous here, you guys. I think what I'll do is I'm going to just pause this for a second. If you guys are going to squatch, you got to stick with facts. You got to remember those four things I chronically push down besides the 3, which is much grace, much patience, much gentleness. You need to come up and be a healthy skeptic when you're out here in the bush, because you are it and you are looking at it and you have people watching you. So you got to be as fair and reasonable as you can. When I did that other video, wait just for a track on there. So you need to have that healthy skepticism. You have to be also able to form a hypothesis on what you're finding and being flexible so you can adjust it so you're dealing with facts. You got to be also use critical thinking to assess and analyze what you're actually looking at and viewing. When you find, look at prints, facts, tracks or facts. You better know the difference between a human barefoot track, because that's quite a popular thing that's going across North America now. Keeping yourself close to nature by no shoes, just walking around barefoot. You better know the difference between that type of a print and a Sasquatch print. Also the difference between just stationary print, Sasquatch print, and one that's in motion. Also in regards to understanding what does weathering and time do over certain pieces of evidence, for instance, printing. Vocalizations. So the vocalizations that I've shared with some of the people in the valley here, just to see if they've heard anything like that, those are pretty distinct things. However, as Thomas Steenberg would caution us on, the idea that you hear something that's really bizarre, and I've heard some pretty bizarre stuff, but it doesn't mean it's Sasquatch. It means it's a bizarre sound coming around at nighttime. Plus, most of the work that you're going to be doing, if you're wanting to bump into them and see them, in my opinion, is going to be at nighttime, not during the daytime. Dusk to morning. The good thing about the valley, all the way down there, like I said, and all the way down here 2 kilometers, and down here another basically 8 kilometers, up on this ridge up here is audio equipment. I'm going to have to do that for like a month and a half and hope that I can hear them. Now the nice thing about where I'm at is the echo in here and the calls, the vocals that have come in regards to the reports have been exceptionally loud. So it should be pretty crisp when they come in. My audio recorders do work fairly good, Christopher Noel, thank you for your advice and helping some of us out with finding the right equipment. But the bottom line is facts, healthy hypothesis, critical thinking, and remember your sincerity, which means I can be sincerely wrong, which means I'm flexible enough to admit it to you guys. I want to show how embarrassing it can be sometimes. I want to show you the awkwardness, the uncomfortability, you know, everything from some of the videos I haven't posted because I haven't been around that much. I've been on the road a lot this summer. 2.5 months. I haven't gone back to, I haven't been at work for 2.5 months because I'm out filming and traveling. So, and meeting up with some really good people. But you know, the drawback about the community is we're not here to look for the Bigfoot community. We're here to look for Sasquatch and Bigfoot. So it doesn't matter if you have 6 people viewing you. Stick with your facts. As time moves on and you're more solid with that, you'll get the viewers. I don't want 100,000 people watching me. I don't want 1 million people watching me. I want the right people watching me, and I want them to be fair and honest with their own approach. Now I want to show you something else. Now that we're on this side of the lake. Okay, I'm just going to flip this. So when I first came here, over here, right here, is where I was last year. And then over this way, fish are jumping right there. But this is where that tree came crashing down. What's over here? Again, it's really steep, and it was wintertime, so I couldn't get up there to do it. But the key part is the one wood knock my first day I was here was over here. Now remember, this is the south side of the valley. My secondary wood knock was right over here. And then my third one is down the road more. So, and I don't know what that is. All I know, it was definitely a knocking sound. It's not a chopping of firewood. Only happened when I got out of my vehicle. It only happened one time each time I got out of my vehicle. I can say all I want that it's Sasquatch, but the bottom line is I have no idea. And I'm still smiling. And you should do the same. You have no idea. If we're patient enough, and there's enough of us doing a fair process of it, we'll eventually prove to everybody that they're real. And I think there'll be a consequence to that, unfortunately, to them. Once we prove to them, the rest of the society, that they're real. Some people say they need a dead body. A dead body would certainly make it the easy way, wouldn't it? The right way is probably to film them. Am I fake to you? Do I look like I'm blurred? If I think I got a close-up shot enough like this, you're gonna have a hard time debating that one. And I want to pose this thing out to you guys too that chronically say you're getting bluff charged. If you're getting bluff charged, wear a body camera. I can't believe all you guys are claiming that you're getting bluff charged and not a single one of you got it on camera. I've got 3 cameras on me right now, not to mention backup, because it's more than likely when I'm not expecting it, I'm not going to get it. When I was putting the audio recorders out last night, there was a part of me that says, nah, don't do it tonight, don't do it tonight. You have to do it every night, because if you don't, you'll regret not doing it that one night. And if I'm out here for 6 days, I have to make sure I use those days consistently and also with the pattern. So if somebody says, well, if I don't hear nothing for a week, 2 weeks, then I don't hear anything for 2 weeks. I haven't found a single track yet. So that tells me they might not be in the area yet. I haven't heard any vocals yet. So that means they might not be in the area. Again, are they seasonal? I have no idea. Do they come through here during a certain time? I'm not 100% sure. I know that the vocalizations seem to come in August, September, October, and November. I also know that people have told me 2 resorts, one on that end, one on this end. Bumped into somebody who's seen a Squatch there. Talked to the owner over here. He's heard vocalizations. Introduces me to an older guy, that old-timer trapper, who's found tracks and seen a Sasquatch. Now I know this is all, there's no tangibility, it's just people telling you what they're finding and stuff, but it's a start. And that's all you can do. I find that what's been most helpful for me is getting people contacting me about their experiences. Because when they get in contact with you, you can get there fairly rapidly and investigate. This is a huge area. And some people have said, well, Leon, aren't you worried people are going to find what you're finding? No, I'm not interested. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it at all. And the reason why I'm not worried about it at all is I had to grunt my way through all this stuff. You know, I haven't posted anything, and I don't intend to post anything till I'm ready to post everything. And that's just the way it is. I don't want to be another YouTube channel that says Bigfoot stump. Look, right there, Bigfoot. Yep, Bigfoot came in there. Come on. I'm looking for facts. And the only way I'm going to get facts is being incredibly patient. And the bonus about me is I am incredibly patient when I have goals. That's one side of me. The other side of me is too excited. So I got to slow myself down from being too excited. But I have patience. I deal with people. Sometimes I'm dealing with things to figure out solutions for things. Now if you hear that truck, this is why this is Echo Lake. That truck's on the other side of the lake. Sounds like it's right beside me here. But it's a great spot if there's vocals and I can keep the equipment running as long as I can. If they're here and they make a sound, they'll be caught. Can't run from technology. They can hide from it, but they can't run from it. Talking about technology, and one other thought, a couple of other thoughts. I don't buy Squatches, and I gotta be cautious how I say this. As far as I mentioned before that I am a human being, and I am an animal, and I'm a mammal, and I have what's called a higher conscience availability to me, which means I have conscience awareness. The thing about conscience awareness, and there's a few other animals on the planet that have it. Magpies have it. Dolphins have it. But you know, even like octopuses, they have a reasoning to them. They have the capacity to problem solve. And they don't even have a brain like a raven does or a crow. But raven and crow are pretty smart. And they can do up to, I think it's 5 or 6 solutional solving problems to get food. And an octopus can remember its first decision in regards to when they're set up to get food. They don't try it a few different ways. They remember. So say squatches are like that they're a mammal and they're an animal, but they're squatches and they have a conscience availability to them to reason. Now I want to know if they do or not. And if they do, what level of reasoning do they have? Some people like to call them people of the forest. I know David Pilati. I think it's David Pilates. Sorry, it's my brain acting up backwards again. From Missing 411. His encounter with First Nations and talking with them is they're a people. And a lot of the First Nations that I've talked to, they believe them as a people too. See that stump behind me? I thought it was a bear. Wouldn't that be kind of freaky? I just want to verify it's not a bear. Let me put my glasses on. No, it's a stump, thank goodness. Anyways, getting back to, you know, if they're a people, what kind of people are they? Cultural? Do they have a culture? Do they have a language? Do they have community? Do they have transient locations that they call home? Are they family orientated? Are they like mountain gorillas? You know, as much as we all have our thoughts on what we think it actually is, what we're actually dealing with, we don't know. And that's probably one of the most frustrating things, is a lot of people claiming that they know. But I don't know. I can only work on what I learn. Trust the people who I trust, especially the ones who are forthright and fair. Man, that is going to be a heck of a steep climb tomorrow. And you have an obligation to people who watch your channel, you guys. You can't just jump from seeing a tree snap and saying it's Sasquatch, or even suggest it's a Sasquatch. You can't come up to a structure and say it's a Squatch structure. Sometimes when I come across prints, I won't tell any. I don't even show the picture, because it might be a 3-inch dip print, but I won't say it's a Squatch, because I don't know for sure. It's not clear enough. Whereas other prints, you bet. And I know people don't like, you know, our culture is really about getting there really fast, finding stuff really fast, looking at stuff. And we start reaching. Again, your brain starts reaching. But it doesn't make it factual. The Bigfoot community, from what I've experienced and coming out and doing research on the Bigfoot community, remember I mentioned it before about part of my job is to not just study and research Sasquatch, it's about what happens to somebody who comes into the Bigfoot community as a system. Because the system is only 50 years old in Western culture. And you and I both have to ask multi-depth questions about everything, so we can get to the bottom of stuff that's good for us in regards to our research, stuff that's hokey. I love this area though. I love the curiosity of the people in the area, but I also owe it to them. I haven't had anyone roll their eyes. Oh my God, he's one of those people. I haven't had a single person do that. What I have had is people who are interested. And these people who are interested, and again, my viewers who watch me who are beginners, they're interested because they're interested. They're curious that it might be real. And I think it's important that you and I both, if you're on a YouTube, have your own YouTube channel, you're going to have to be brutally fair and honest with yourself. Ego. You have to put your ego on the shelf. You really do. You have to put your ego on the shelf. In clinical things, we talk about people I got to put their ego to death. Think of how egocentric that comment is. You got to put your ego to death. I got to put my ego to death. Oh, you're that egotistical? You can put your ego to death? Do you understand what you're saying when you say I need to put my ego to death? You need to put your self-absorption, have grandeur, maybe out of your life. But your ego-id sense of yourself is very important for your sanity. How do I know what I know? How do I see what I see? What I think is what I think. What I feel is what I feel. Those are called 5 basic powers you're born with. You kind of see this in politics. Am I hearing what I'm hearing? Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Do I know what I know? Do I just abandon that over to somebody else to tell me what I should be seeing, what I should be hearing, what I should be knowing? Because you get that in the Bigfoot community too. Had somebody ask me the other day about looking at some stuff again for them, and honestly, you guys, it's not fair to ask other people because it puts us on the spot a bit. We don't want to hurt your feelings in case we believe it's something else. Sorry, I just have to look at these forests are the best forests. Because I can actually negotiate and navigate through that. I can't negotiate and navigate this other stuff. Like it's, I can walk through this. Or some of the forest up in the other area, not a chance. I can walk through it. I can walk through it all right, but It's pretty brutal. So when I'm done this week and edit all this kind of stuff out, unless I get some specific stuff, there's a good chance I'll have to come back and research it again and wait, be patient. But the main reason why I film during the day is you can't see me at night. But they're not active during the day. At least, I don't think they're that active. They're probably stationarily active. Oy! But I think most of them are nocturnal. Calls seem to always be nocturnal. You hear the odd one online at least. Again, you don't know if it is, but the odd sighting online during the day seem to be either young, juvenile, or older ones, depending on your hypothesis. Coming to the bush does something, as I mentioned, about your primal part of your brain. It redisciplines you. Not to be freaked out. You've all had Squatch willies. Right? You know Squatch willies? Squatch willies is when you're in an area and your hair stands up in the back of your neck. You're not too sure what it is. You got to get a balance. If you don't get a balance, your body's going to go into fight, flight, or freeze. You actually might be in it in the process of trying to get a balance. It is possible to bring your body back to a balance, to a calm and relaxed state, as Caesar Milan would say. I'm just going to stop for a second, take a couple of pictures of these structures.